If you do not want to be seen on any social media, please, after the meeting, please send a message to me. I will make sure I don't post anything related to you. And also the screenshot also will be taken during the meeting. If you don't want to be seen in any social media, please let me know after the meeting. And also at the end of the meeting, we will have a poll to select who is the best speaker, best evaluator, best table topics. So make sure you pay attention to the speaker, evaluator, and the table topics. So at the end of the meeting, we will give a short presentation to those who chosen as the number one. And tonight, our chairperson is our member for two plus years. She achieved her Distinguished Toastmaster 3 years ago. So please help me to welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Leah Shen.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, all the members from 3 different clubs across District 21. Tonight's theme is a little bit of a misnomer. Tonight's theme is Spring is Coming, but as we all know, 2 weeks ago, we sprung our clock forward by an hour, and just this past weekend, we also had spring equinox. So spring isn't coming, spring is here. And with the theme of tonight's meeting, it is a pleasure to have you all here with us, especially our guests from outside of District 21 and our guests that are coming in for the first time. At this point, I would like us to do a round of self-introductions. And to explain how self-introductions work, all I expect you to say, and I'm hoping that you'll say, is your name, what club you belong to. And if you don't belong to a club, you can say, I'm a guest. And then the answer to the question, and it really short, keep it short and sweet, under 20 seconds if you can. The question is, with spring now here, what do you most want to do? And I'll go around looking at my computer screen, and I'd like to start with Melissa. Melissa, please tell us about yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Melissa Shiplak. I'm part of the SOMAS Toastmasters in Port Alberni on Vancouver Island. I've been a Toastmaster for about 3 years. And the most thing that I am looking forward to this spring is gardening and getting out on those hiking trails in the sunshine and getting some vitamin D. It's been very rainy here, so I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Next, I would like to call on Anne to introduce herself. Anne, please tell us a bit about you. You're on mute.
I can't believe that's not totally automatic now. My name's Ann Callender, and I am area director for Area 21, and have been really immersed for the last few weeks in contest coordinating, so that's been fun. And I am a club coach for Pacific Rim.
And what would you most like to do with spring, now that spring's here?
Oh, what would I like to do? Oh, we just put our patio furniture out, and I'm very excited that we're actually going to be able to enjoy our backyard and the sunshine, and it feels like it's been a long time coming.
It has. Thank you, Anne. Next, I'd like to call on Maureen to introduce herself. Maureen, tell us a bit about yourself. You're on mute.
Thank you. I have to keep reminding ourselves here of this mute thing. I've been a member of Pacific Rim Toastmasters. I'm a charter member since 1995. And I think I'm really looking forward to spring and doing some kayaking. It's been a while since I got into the water, and I can't wait.
Nice. Thank you, Maureen. Next, I'd like to call on TJ to introduce himself. TJ, tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Leah. I am about a year into Toastmasters now, almost, and I'm club coach for this club, and I have the pleasure of being area director for Area 50 as well. what I'm looking forward to spring, honestly, I'm looking really forward to the spring real estate market, because that's when things typically pick up and get even busier, and the market's already insanely busy. So I can't wait for the market to blossom even more along with those flowers. Thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Next, I'd like to call on John Morris to introduce himself. John.
Yes, Leah. My name is John Morris. I belong to Comtalk Toastmasters as well as Enriched Toastmasters. What I plan to do with spring coming up, sit out on my patio and sip on a little bit of beer.
That sounds lovely. I can agree with that, those goals. Next, I'd like to call on Karen. Karen, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karen Smith. I'm from Pacific Rim Toastmasters, and I just finished my training not too long ago for Sergeant at Arms. So, and during this for spring, I'm just wanting to get out and enjoy much sunshine as possible. Just go hiking, just soak up the vitamin D. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Karen. Next, I'd like to call on our guest who's coming to us all the way from District 96, Tina. Tina, please introduce yourself to us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Tina. I'm from North Vancouver Toastmaster. I have been with Toastmaster for almost 1 year. I found my way here thanks to Leah. She went to my club before and did a very awesome speech about vocal variety, which impressed me very much. And what I'm looking forward to right now with the spring coming, just like most of you, to get more natural vitamin D. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. Next, I'd like to call on Marcus to introduce himself. Marcus.
Hi, thank you, Leah. I'm Marcus, and I just joined this club not long ago, and all thanks to Leah as well. Thank you for that. And what I would like to do is kind of the same with everyone, that I would like to feel grounded with the nature. Yeah.
Marcus. Next, I'd like to call on our guest from very far away. Job, please introduce yourself to us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Job Mogire, and as you can tell by my Canadian accent, I am originally from Kenya. I'm currently working in Kansas as a physician. I'm a Toastmaster since 2014, currently contesting in the international speech circuit, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my speech with you tonight.
We're grateful to have you here with us tonight. Thank you, Job. Next, I'd like to call on Frank to introduce himself. Frank.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Frank. I had been a member of Global Toastmaster about 2 years ago, but last year because COVID-19, I was absent from the Toastmaster. I miss you. Now the spring is coming. I think this is the best season for us to enjoy Vancouver cherry blossom. Yeah, too many kinds of cherry blossom. Yeah, that's blossom say you can enjoy, you can go outside with your friends, with your family to enjoy them. That's the best thing. I love Vancouver because there are so many blossom in the spring, and in autumn you can enjoy so many beautiful leaves. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call on Jazz to introduce herself. Jazz.
Hey everyone, I'm Jazz, and I've been part of these clubs as a guest always, and I'm looking forward to being a Toastmaster member very soon. The one thing I'm looking forward to part of spring is just like everybody else, being outdoors, seeing the sun every day, hopefully less rain, and seeing my friends and family with now these restrictions allowing 10+ gatherings outdoors, of course. So I'm really hoping that the sun kicks around every day, hopefully.
Thanks, Jazz. I don't think it will, but I like your thinking. That's great. Next, I'd like to call on Alyssa to introduce herself to us. Alyssa, our guest.
Hello, thank you. My name is Alyssa, and this is my first Toastmasters meeting. And one thing I am looking forward to, as well as hiking, is just going to the parks and seeing the little animals that are being bored and playing around. I think they're very adorable and something to look forward to every spring.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. That's fantastic. Next, I'd like to call on Sharon to introduce herself.
Thanks, Chairwoman. I'm Sharon. I'm from the Global Speakers. For spring, I hope every day will be like today. It's sunny with lots of cherry blossoms as well as flower blooming. Back to you.
Thank you, Sharon. Next, I'd like to call on Lanny Donald to introduce herself. Lanny.
Good evening, Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and fellow guests. I'm a guest too, where I'm from Toastmaster Good News and Fraser Heights and a youth club, and also Aspire. And I just want to see what you guys are, how you guys are having fun this evening. So Johan invited me. I said, okay, I'll come on board.
Nice. Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
Thanks, Lanny. Johan, what are you looking forward to with spring? Who are you?
Oh, good evening. My name is Johan. I'm the Sergeant at Arms, as well the club president for Global Speakers. For spring, that I'm hoping the baseball season is coming, will be coming soon, because right now still no adult sport activity for competition right now. So I hope the restriction will be lifted soon.
Thank you so much, Johan. And I am Leah, your chair for this evening. And this spring, I am looking very much forward to getting the marriage certificate because we're getting married in June. So that's what I'm looking forward to this spring. Next, let's move on to our roles to find out what different people are going to be doing with this evening. First, I would like to call on our grammarian, Maureen, to please tell us what she'll be doing. Maureen, what will you be doing?
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I have introduced the word rejuvenation as the word of the day today, and it means the action or process of giving new energy or vigor to something, plans for the rejuvenation of an area. But we also can rejuvenate ourselves, just like the plants, the trees, the animals, everything is rejuvenating in spring. All the sprouts are coming up. And I thought rejuvenation would be perfect. A synonym for rejuvenation is like refresh or renew or renovate or restore, except rejuvenation has this element of making things look a little younger. And I think when we're smiling, we all look a little better and a little younger. So I charge everyone to use the word of the day, and I will be listening for grammar and extra words and phrases, interesting words and phrases, and I'll be jotting that down and I'll give you a report at the end of the meeting. I'll also listen for any unnecessary pauses, ahs and ums. So onward, and let's use the word of the day tonight.
I would like to call on our timer, Melissa, to tell us what she'll be doing in her role of timer. Melissa.
Thank you, Leah. So I am timer tonight. I will be timing the things that are happening on the agenda. Most importantly, I will be timing the speeches. I will be giving a green light at 5 minutes, a yellow light at 6 minutes, and a red light at 7 minutes. And for our guests this evening, and for anybody who's not familiar with table topics, I will be timing the table topics, which you'll learn a little bit more about later. I will be doing a green light at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5 minutes, and red at 2 minutes. And I will be making sure we're running on track tonight. Thank you.
before we go into our prepared speech section, I would first like to call on our inspirator for this evening, Global's newest member, Marcus. Marcus, please lift us up with words of inspiration.
Thank you. I'm Jolly. Do you know who Jolly is? I am joy, I am happiness. But you or I, as a human, might know me simply as a plant. Little did you know that plants have our own identities and souls. Indeed, we do, along with the divine purpose and goals. Although our goals are much simpler than yours, we as plants do not have identity crisis, that's for sure. Thank you, Madam Chairman, fellow Toastmasters, and other guests. I am Makers, and I'll be taking on the job of an invocator. My goal in this new year is to feel and give the joy of spring. Some may think this is frivolous, but to me, Jolly, it is everything. It is all that I am represented for, all I yearn for, and all that I live for. The life of a plant is nothing if not for spring. Do you agree with me? You see, for me, it all began with a seed, and this seed was watered and nurtured by the sun and the earth so that I may come and experience my joy of spring. This is all I want. This is all I will be, and this is simply perfect and divine, at least for me. The sun and the earth know who I am and what I am. They know me more than as simply plant. They know my essence, they know my needs, they know my true divinity. They know me as intimately as they know you, and they love me just the same too. So my focus this year is on the new age of spring. This time is now for me to join humanity and sprout my seed, spread my roots, and bloom. Because after all, it's all about spring, you see. So now the days are getting warmer, come out and find me. If you have nowhere to go, come to me. If you have no one to communicate, talk to me. If you need a tree to hug, you got me. That is spring for you. And let me tell you a secret that a human who used to say to me, spring is here, and I'm excited that I wet my plants. And he told me to keep it a secret. Now, do you have any secrets with me? Spring is here, and thus I'm here. Do not feel shy. Thank you all.
Thank you, Marcus. I love your background image as well. Perfect for spring.
Oh yeah, I took that last year.
Oh, it was last year? Okay.
Yeah.
Next, we have a Toastmaster in our midst who is wearing many hats, and I would like to call on Melissa to provide us with a joke for this evening. Melissa.
Thank you, Leah. I always love telling the joke because my partner sends me jokes all the time, and we always try and find good ones for Toastmasters, and I think this one's a good one. So, 3 brothers aged 92, 94, and 96 all live in a house together. The 96-year-old pours a bath for himself, and just as he's about to get in the bathtub, he forgets. He calls down to his 94-year-old brother and says, "Was I getting in the tub or was I getting out of the tub?" The 94-year-old yells back, "I don't know, but I'll come up and help you figure it out." So the 94-year-old starts walking up the stairs. Then he yells down to his 92-year-old brother and says, "Was I going up the stairs or was I going down the stairs?" The 92-year-old sighs as he's sitting there drinking his coffee in the kitchen. And he says, "Man, I hope I do not get as forgetful as those two." And he knocks on wood. And then he says, "I'll come up and help you guys once I see who's at the door."
Thank you. So that was, I've never heard that one before. That was really, really good. Next, we have a toast, and I would like to call on Karen to give our toast for this evening. So if you have a drink, grab your drink and get ready for a toast. Please help me welcome Karen.
I forgot my drink, but I'll, I'll do the toast here. Okay. All right. Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. With the coming of spring comes many transformations and new beginnings in nature, The plants and trees take on new life and blossom, and new animal babies are born, emerging to a brand new world. The days get longer and the sun starts emerging more often. Spring is a chance for all of us to emerge from our winter cocoon and have new experiences and bring new energy into all areas of our life. It is a chance to transform, grow, and leave behind the things that are no longer working for us and step into a new future of our own creation. I ask everyone to please raise their glass to the coming of spring.
Coming of spring. Cheers. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
That was fantastic toast. At this point, we are now moving into the prepared speech section of tonight's meeting. I will first call on the evaluators to introduce the speakers. So I would like to call on our first evaluator and to introduce our first speaker, TJ. Anne, please tell us about TJ and what he'll be doing tonight.
Thank you, Toastmaster. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce TJ. TJ joined Toastmasters in April of 2020 and joined Global Speakers in August. He is determined to achieve his DTM by the end of this year. Currently, he is the club coach and VP of Education and VP of PR for Global Speakers. TJ is a professional realtor with the Vancouver Living Team and is passionate about helping clients become financially successful by investing in real estate, especially by helping first-time home buyers get into their first property. Today, TJ's speech is from the Persuasive Influence Pathway, Level 3, using presentation software. And his speech title is Real Estate Hate. So help me to introduce TJ and his speech, Real Estate Hate.
Thank you, Anne. I'm just gonna quickly position my camera here and test that I can share my screen properly. Can everyone see that? Okay, awesome. And I would like to ask you to, because I don't want you staring at my presentation for my entire speech, if you can go, if you know how to go to gallery view, or go to, when you choose your view, go to side by side, so you can see the presentation as well as my body language at the same time. How is that? Is everyone able to do that? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Okay, looks like most people have it. Melissa? Yeah, Karen? You're on mute.
Is it on the top right?
Yeah, it should be on the top right.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so
You
side
want to choose
gallery.
side by
Okay,
side.
right.
Did you, okay, yeah, gallery or side by side.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about real estate, but more particularly, real estate hate. You're probably wondering, what do I mean by that? Well, let me ask you by show of hands, who's familiar with what the real estate market is looking like right now? Okay, so if you have any idea, you know it's super busy, and townhouses and houses especially are on fire, where there's multiple offers, bidding wars, properties are going over than what the sellers are asking for them. But that's strategically like that because the realtors price them low so that you have a bidding war. Now, one thing I've I've noticed is a lot of people have an issue with all of the attention that real estate is getting and how high prices are going and the fact that people are bidding themselves up in order to get a house. One thing that was brought to my attention today was an article that was released in the Daily Hive. The title of it was called Fraserview Home Sees 21 Offers in 7 Days and Sells for $600,000 over the asking price. So this house was listed for, it was in the high 1.88 range, and it ended up selling for considerably more than that in a multiple offer situation. Now you would think that's great news, but it also depends on what side of real estate you're on, right? So some of the comments is interesting. I showed them here. I took screenshots of them to show you. There are people that are saying, why would anyone be excited about this? This is absolutely gross and not a good thing at all. Record for the ugliest house sold for over 2 million maybe, right? So you're seeing a lot of hate towards the real estate market. And that's not all. Look, people are even throwing in racial slurs because they're so upset that prices are going so high. This is ridiculous. This is why our market is so high. There are so many people out there that can't afford to buy in this housing market, but hey, let's keep driving it up. It just doesn't make any sense. This is so sad. Not that hard to come up with 2.5 million for not that great of a property. So the message is clear from these commenters that they're pretty upset that the house market is climbing so quickly. But here's the thing. If you own property, you don't have a problem with it. That's great news, right? It's like, woohoo! Yeah, that house sold for 2.3, 2.4. That means mine's worth like 2.4, 2.5, right? The only people who have a problem with house prices going up are the people who don't have houses, unfortunately, right? I didn't have crypto. I didn't have it a year ago. I didn't have it 6 months ago. But if I had had it 6 months ago, my $1,000 would have turned into $30,000 if I had invested in crypto. And now I'm upset that, oh man, why didn't I invest in crypto? Because I missed out. So a lot of these comments, I believe, are because of people who are not in real estate. And, you know, it is kind of sad to me because of the higher prices, real estate is becoming a determining factor in whether you're wealthy or not, right? Whether you're renting or owning. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is helping people get into real estate because I truly believe that it's one of the best investments a person can make. And it is of all the possible investments out there, it is the surefire, safest investment to make to eventually becoming financially free. And so I do this not as a job, I do it as a passion because if I can help someone get into their first property and they might not have done it without my help, then I know that I did something that's gonna end up being one of the best decisions in their life that they would have made. As you can see from the graph here, real estate prices have climbed more or less. If you were to average it out, they've doubled about every 8 to 10 years. Okay, that is a significant increase in price for a relatively safe investment. Now, what does it take for someone who doesn't own property right now to get into their first property? Well, these are general rules, but what you're looking at is a minimum of 5% down payment. So on a $500,000 condo, you're looking at putting down at least $25,000. Okay, that's a simplification. There are a little bit of fees that you have to pay on top of that if you were to only put down 5%. But that's what you're looking at for minimum down payment. That's how much you need to have saved.
You need a credit score of at least 640 to 650 with Equifax. Your credit is really important on whether you can qualify for a mortgage or not. You need a stable job, and you need an employment letter from your employer. And you also need your most recent tax records and notice of assessment. Now, the reason I believe that real estate is one of the best investments an average person can make is because something called leverage. Leverage is when you can multiply your initial investment and get a potentially greater return as a multiple of what that investment was. So for example, if you were to put down the minimum 5% as a down payment on a $500,000 condo, if a condo prices go up only 5% in a year, and they've averaged a lot more than that, they've averaged close to 10. But if they were to go up for 5% a year in our example, that would mean an increase of 25% in the value of that condo. So now that same condo is worth $525,000. Remember, our initial investment, the money that we had to put to get that condo, was only $25,000. So we just made $25,000 on our $25,000 that we put in a year. In effect, we doubled our money. That's the power of leveraging and the power of getting a mortgage to invest in real estate. And I believe that's one of the best ways that anyone who doesn't have property to get into property and become financially free, because after that mortgage is paid off, that house will be owned free and clear. And now you have an investment that's multiplied many-fold over the price that you initially invested in it. And with that, I'd like to say thank you. Back over to you.
Thank you very much, TJ, for that lesson in how to invest in real estate. If only I had $25,000 stashed somewhere, I might be able to take you up on those points. I would now like to call on our next evaluator, our second evaluator, to introduce our second speaker. I'd like to introduce Lanny Donald to introduce our second speaker, Job. Lanny, please tell us what Job will do.
Madam Chair, unfortunately, I have no information on Joe at all because I was not given any information, Joe, on who you are and what you're going to speak. So forgive me. All I know is that you people will be hearing a fantastic speech because I know Joe has done his best to prepare the speech and he will give his utmost best in delivering his speech. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was not given any information at all. So,
Lanny, that's fair. He's doing a contest speech. I believe going on to district next. So my apologies for not getting you the information that you needed, but please help us welcome Job.
At 18 years, Mary met a man who promised her the world. She fell for it. She fell pregnant. Realized the world he promised her was fake news. She was alone in an African village where having a child out of wedlock was unforgivable. She endured relentless abuse. At 21, she couldn't take it anymore. She fled to a distant village in search of a new life. The new village accepted Mary, but not her child. They called the child Ekerentane, an unwanted child, a bastard. Dear friends, I am Mary's child, the unwanted one. Even as a 4-year-old boy, I could feel it in my bones that there was something wrong with me. I felt it in the way boys my age avoided me. My mom told me not to play with you. It was social distancing 101, and I was the virus. I felt so undesirable, like a face mask used by someone else. When I joined school, I was hungry for redemption from rejection. You should know that I was a mediocre student. But because of my pain, I poured my heart, head, and gut into my books, and I scored top grades. I earned admission to my dream high school. Finally, a ticket to a new life away from the pain. But I remember the day my mom sat me down. Job, you know we have done everything, but we can't afford that school. The reality of our poverty was heartbreaking. I went from delighted to defeated. In sheer desperation, my estranged father crossed my mind. I hear he has a big job, big salary. He can save me from poverty to a new life. Hope was rekindled. It is D-Day, a chilly and windy day, a blind date to meet my biological father for the first time. I woke up early and walked barefoot for hours to the town where he worked. I arrive at 7 in the morning, and when people start streaming into the office, I stand by the main door and analyze every face that I can see until, behold, my father. The resemblance was striking. I am in shock. He is in shock. His gaze transfixed on me for at least 10 seconds. But then he said nothing. He looked away and walked right by me as though I was invisible. Inside his office, I am your son, and I need help. Please help me. No. "13 years later, and all he could say is one word. I returned to the village broken, and cried myself to sleep for weeks. I had lost all hope, and my mom was scared she was losing her child. One morning, she held me by the shoulders. "Job, pain can distract you or instruct you. Let this pain instruct you." I needed those words to stop wishing for a new life and start creating it. I joined a village high school My pain instructed me to work so hard, I qualified for university and for graduate school. And a letter from Harvard read, "Congratulations, here is your scholarship." Dear friends, I am Mary's child. The physician. I have been blessed to treat patients in Europe, Africa, and America, to author books and shake hands with dignitaries, including presidents of Toastmasters clubs. My pain led me to my purpose. What if your pain holds the key to your new life? Your pain can distract you or instruct you. Back to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you for that amazing international contest speech. That was fantastic, and I really like the ending. At this point, we're now going to call on our evaluators to present our speakers with some tips for improvement to help them take their speeches to the next level. First, I would like to call on Anne to provide TJ with some feedback. Please help me welcome Anne.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially TJ. The objectives of this speech and this project were to use slides in an effective way to enhance a speech, and also to demonstrate an understanding of what works when we're doing a presentation using slides. Yes, absolutely, you accomplished those objectives. It's interesting that, and really, really positive that most of your slides were very minimalist in their text. There were a few that had more than what you might typically want to see on a slide. However, because of the nature of the speech and the fact that there were some statistics and pieces of information, that having them on the slide made that easier for the audience to fully take in. It was very appropriate, and the slide presentation was really good. Strong introduction. I appreciated that you explained your title right at the beginning, because an intriguing, slightly mysterious title is good, but you don't want to leave the audience hanging for a long time because they're thinking, what's that going to be about? And I like that you showed an example of that house and the huge over ask offer that was made close to the beginning, because that's very engaging. Real estate is interesting, and seeing an actual example that puts everything you're going to talk about into context is good. And also appreciated your stats and the fact that you supported them with information and showing that graph of the doubling. A couple of suggestions that would have enhanced your speech. Given the time constraint, I would have found it easier to take in if you had slowed down a bit, perhaps condensed the information about the return on investment, made that a bit shorter, but spoken more slowly. And watch out for rights at the end of your sentences. Really enjoyed the speech. Thank you, TJ. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Anne, for that great feedback for TJ's presentation. Next, I'd like to call on Lanny Donald to provide Joe McGuire with some feedback. Think of him as moving forward in the speech contest. What would you say to help him to take it to the next level and win the next round of competitions? Lanny.
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow Toastmaster and fellow guests, and especially Joe. what I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate on what I saw, what I heard, and what I felt. What I saw in the beginning is our speaker had a calm demeanor and he started speaking. And as soon as he opened his mouth, I knew he had a fantastic story. He started talking about Mary at 18, and it was very organized, chronological sections. And right away he said, that child was me. Immediately I felt it. Because at this time, I'm dealing with people who felt rejected, pain. People that have not even been bothered being adopted, all of a sudden now becomes an issue during the COVID. So that immediately connected to me. And what I also saw is he had effective body language, and the expression of Joe's face was amazing, especially when he says, dejected. I was crushed. That was very effective. However, one point for international speech is if you could stand up, like TJ stood up rather than sitting, because then you would bring your body language even more. Like you can say, he walked away. You can walk away, literally walk to the other direction. That would make better connection. And what I heard is a story that anybody could connect to. This is the kind of story that people like to hear for international speeches. And I also heard the pain, but at the end, he brought us all up. Again, that is fantastic, Joe. And I felt your pain, but I'm so thankful that you didn't leave us the end by feeling pain and there's no hope at all, because you showed by not giving up, you showed success at the end, and how many people can share that kind of story. I just felt, yay, fantastic. And that is really awesome. One thing I like to see is when you challenge the people, allow more time, because I felt the conclusion was a bit rushed. What are you gonna do with your sadness? Are you gonna do this or that? You can elaborate a little bit more so you can connect with the audience. What are you gonna do? Because we all have pain. We all know people that are in pain, but your story is something that we will remember and we can share with other people that are in the same situation as you. That is an awesome story. And what I appreciate most is that you're being vulnerable, saying you could have said this boy, but you said, no, that was me. And that is amazing. Well done, Joe.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lenny, for that incredible feedback to help him take it to the next level and try to win the next level of competitions. I have a question for Job. Job, what level of competition are you going to next?
So I'm going to the division on 27th.
Division level next. Okay. At this point in time, because Job is advancing, but we do need a little bit of a break, I propose we call a 5-minute break for anybody who would like to stick around for that 5 minutes to provide Job with some feedback to help him win at his division level. That would be great. But for those who need a break, whether you need to get a new drink or use the facilities, whatever you need to do, feel free to take 5 minutes and let's meet back at 7:58. Job, okay. I really liked your poetic moments. I thought you had some beautiful poetic illustrations in there with it was both alliteration and there was 2 R's, 2 D's, and I think that there was 2 I's, and I'm trying to remember what the actual words were. Please forgive me because I didn't write it down. Yeah. It's very heavy throughout most of the speech. I know that talking to Prez Vasiliev, who won the 2013 International Championship, talked about having that indolation of taking your audience on a ride between the highs and the lows and the highs and lows, but yours starts heavy and it stays heavy just towards the end when it comes up. I mean, the story is very personal and it's an incredible story. Don't get me wrong there. I'm just wondering, is it going to be too heavy? That's my only question.
Yeah.
But the conclusion's phenomenal when you're like, and I'm a doctor, the letter from Harvard. I would have loved to have seen a letter from Harvard. Do you have a copy of that letter?
Yeah, I do.
Because that would have made a fantastic prop. It's like, and here's Harvard accepting me. That's a heck of a life. Did you bring your mom over to this side with you?
No, she's still in Africa. I'm hoping that she'll come at some point.
Job, if I can get connected to you, I would love to work more with your speech.
Wow, I would love to connect with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have such great potential. I love your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We are connected.
I want to work with you more for your engagement with the audience, because you need to connect more with the judges.
I would love that. Thank you so much for the feedback. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Yeah.
It was definitely some vulnerability that you demonstrated throughout that speech. And it, like Lanny said, just hit home. It's like, that child was me. It's like, oh my God, the pain, the rejection, the hurt that would carry you throughout most of your life if you haven't gotten past it, right? And that's not something that's easy to get past. So how do you address moving beyond it if you can? How did you move beyond it, or have you moved beyond it?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Have you moved, like, how did you move beyond the hurt from those younger years?
But I worked with a therapist when I was in medical school, and that was when I really healed. It took a lot of because I became a workaholic because pain was soothing me. And then after being the top student in medical school, I realized it's not enough. That's when I got a therapist to help me, so that now I succeed not to soothe the pain, but to fulfill my potential.
Well, you're definitely an overcomer, Joe.
Thank you. Thank
See,
you. Yeah.
So get in touch with Leah. She'll give you my number so we can get connected.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for
I
having me.
thank you for your speech.
Yeah. Thank you for being here to present that. I do hope you take.
You're so honored to be your evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sorry, Lanny, for not having you fully prepared.
Oh, well, these things happen last minute. But I just did my best, you know.
You did your best, no question.
Right. That was a test for me.
It's like, how do you provide feedback for an international speech? But I love the structuring of the speech. I just wish that there was a little bit more undulation.
Yeah.
The highs and lows.
The thing that I'd like to see, Job, is to have a thread that you would wave through your speech, you know, and we can work on that. Okay.
A through line.
Pardon me?
A through line. Yeah. I call that the through line, like that one point that you kind of come back to over and over again that ties it all together.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But the speech is good as it is, but we just want you to be, hey, that is my champion. That's what I like to see.
Thank you. Thank
you. Because
so
that is a winner speech. And I want people to hear you. Because we need that. Because I'm dealing with people now that are suicidal because they lost hope, which is so sad. You know, and they need to hear you. You're a champion.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
She's right.
I've gotten to where I am because of coaching, so you can trust me.
Yeah. There's somebody up there that's looking after you, Joe.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Awesome.
So good evening, global speaker, Pacific Rim and SUMAS members, and most welcome guests. So welcome back to our second half of the March 22nd meeting. Just remind everyone, please mute yourself until it is your turn to speak. And also the meeting is being recorded. And if you have any technical issue, you can always send a private chat to me. And please help me to welcome back our chairperson, Leah.
Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Now that we've gone through the prepared speech portion of this evening's meeting, it is time to move on to what I consider to be one of the best parts of a Toastmasters meeting, the impromptu speaking session. Tonight, Please help me give a warm welcome to our table topics master, none other than Global Speaker's own Sharon Liu. Sharon!
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Toastmaster members and most welcome guests, you all. Table topics are impromptu speech. The purpose of table topic section is to help the members to think on the feet and speak on given subject for between 1 and 2 minutes. Because tonight we are going to talk about spring is coming. So all the topics I will pick up are focusing on spring. We have a lot of guests tonight. So how about we just take turns? I'll randomly call up people and then assign a topics. Is it okay? So the first question is, what are the 3 things you love about spring? I will call on Marcus to answer.
Sorry, as a timer, I just want to confirm, did you say 1 to 2 minutes per person?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Marcus, let me repeat the questions. So what are the 3 things you love about spring?
Thank you, Sharon. The first thing I love about spring is, of course, to ditch all the winter clothes and to get out into the sun and enjoy all the activities that require us to use the benefit that the sun gives us. The next thing that I would love to do is to get into the water and perhaps do some kayaking and anything that's regarding to water, because water cools us down, and it is good that we have a lower temperature of water in the spring and moving towards the summer, so it is a good thing. The third thing that I would love to do in spring is to be taking photos all around the city, because as you know, we will have less rain, so that our cameras or our gears would have less chance of getting soaked in the water or in the rain. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks, Marcus. That's a great answer. The next questions I will call on Tina. What outdoor activities do you enjoy in the spring?
The activities I enjoy in the spring definitely is to go outdoors. I live in North Vancouver, where everywhere there's beautiful trails with great woods, great color. Right now with the winter coming, when I go out, everywhere I can see the buds and shoots. I can see the more and more colors. It's really purify my soul to go out to experience the nature. I especially enjoy going out to walk on the hiking trails. It's really, sometimes you can hear the creek, the sound from the creek, and the color of the woods, and the air is so fresh. Definitely, I enjoy that. Especially nowadays with the pandemic, we can only go out for work with the families. So I especially enjoy taking a walk, go out for a walk with my family on the trails. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Tina. That's a vivid and refreshing sharing. Next questions I will ask Lenny. What do you recall about springtime when you were growing up?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster, and fellow guests. What do I recall about springtime when I grew up? Sharing what you don't know about me is I grew up in Indonesia. You know where Indonesia is? It's right where the equator is. So there's no springtime. It's everything grow 12 months of the year. It's beautiful and I loved it. But it was a real culture shock as well as environment shock when I came to Canada. When I landed to Canada, it was in the month of June, where it was still cold for me. But I do notice the beauty. When I landed, I saw mountains, a little bit of snow, And at the same time, I could see the ocean. I've never seen that before. Mountain, snow, and ocean all at once. However, now, just like I was rejuvenated by Mark Jobe's speech, spring rejuvenates me because right now I see in my garden, all the crocuses are in bloom, narcissus, daffodils in bloom, and I still have the winter rose in bloom. So springtime to me is wonderful. And the birds, their chirps, looking for worms, all that scene rejuvenates me. And I just love it. And anticipating more growth because we're all busy, my whole family, seeding all the seeds. We actually are picking vegetables from our greenhouse and garden already. Like I've been picking spinach, lettuce, peas from the garden. And that is just so beautiful to me. The power of growth in the spring. It's unreal. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thanks, Nanny. Thanks for sharing your own experience. That's very interesting. Next, I will call on Frank. What's your favorite season and why?
Pardon?
The question is, what's your favorite season and why?
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster. The best season for me is spring. I love spring because it's a link. It can spring link the winter and the summer. Yeah, it's not too hot, not too cold. Yeah, the winter is so cold and the summer a little bit hot. So I think spring is the best season, and I can go outside. I love hiking. Yeah, you can hike in the Great Mountain, and you can also hike along the sea. Yeah, that is a very beautiful weather in spring in Vancouver, and the spring is everything rejuvenate. Yeah, you can so many flowers. Yeah, many kinds of flowers in Vancouver. So I love that's the thing I love spring. You can go outside and enjoy so many beautiful things you can do. Back to you, Madam. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Next, I would like to call on Alisa. The question is, what are your favorite springtime activities? What makes them special to you?
Favorite springtime activities. When I think of spring, I think of the growth of plants and the birth of animals. And so what my favorite activities are ones that surround enjoying nature, like many of you have mentioned. So I really enjoy going to parks, seeing all of the new flowers bloom and their different colors, seeing the activity of animals and bugs coming up again in contrast to the quiet of the winter. And I like being able to be part of that energy through participating in activities, going outside, going for runs, going for walks, going for hikes. Those are some of my favorite spring activities.
Thanks, Alisa. That's a wonderful answer. Next, I would like to call on Jess. Are there some things you tell yourself every year that you would do in spring but never get around to doing? Why?
Repeat the question. Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Are there some things you tell yourself every year that you would do in spring but never get around to doing? Why?
Okay. So things that I tell myself that I'll do every year and I don't get to, okay. I would say Let me think about this for a minute. I always, when I'm doing spring cleaning this time of year, I always say, I'm not gonna accumulate more stuff. I'm not, and every year I have to weed out more stuff because I've accumulated too much. And so yeah, so every year I just say that to myself. There are certain things that I need, but then I always wonder, where does all this clutter come from? And I can never, I just don't know how I accumulated it. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Next, I would like to call on Jess. So can you please share your favorite spring memory to us?
My favorite spring memory. I'm going to have to go back to when I was a child. I had an aunt in my family who I wouldn't see often, but every spring, I come from a family and we don't celebrate Easter. And so spring wasn't a huge part of my life, or the spring equinox or celebrating it. I just knew my mom liked to go into the garden and plant flowers and start growing the vegetables. This aunt, though, she'd come around, and every spring she didn't dress like an Easter bunny, but she'd come with grocery bags, and I was never really interested. And I thought to myself, like, okay, she's bringing my mom grocery. Why? I wasn't too sure. But she'd bring the grocery bag into my room, and like I'd open it. She'd like open the bag, and it would be filled with chocolates, like chocolate bunnies, chocolate eggs, the Cadbury cream eggs, which I'm not a huge fan of. But just to have an abundance, a bag of chocolate, and it's not Halloween, was probably the best thing about spring. And as a child, even up until I was a teenager, I really look forward to that. Every year I'm just like, oh, when's that app coming? Like, is she gonna be here? Like, I get a whole bunch of chocolate. And now I get to do the same thing for my nieces and nephews. So I fill up baskets of Easter goodies and I take it over. I don't dress up like a bunny, but I do take it over. And they're just really happy that they get candy. Sugar overload. That's my favorite.
Thanks, Jess, for sharing the fun memory. Next, I will call on Anne. So is this spring just a summer wannabe, or does it have a value all its own? And I think you are muted. Can you unmute?
Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. I think that what spring offers that's special and makes it unique and better than summer is that spring is full of anticipation. It's the anticipation that starts right about now of all of the things that we're going to be able to do again and enjoy again. And for my husband and I, one of those things is kayaking. And we are really looking forward to getting out kayaking again soon. And this year, we're going to be more committed to something we promised ourselves every summer for quite a while, which is to go kayaking a lot more. And kayaking is so special because you can just be not far from shore and you're in this completely calm, beautiful, watery island. It's like a mini vacation that sometimes only takes a few hours. So that's what we're looking forward to. And that's what I love about spring, when you feel that change in the air. And I can picture that morning when we take the kayaks out and find some new places to explore. Topics Master.
and that's great answer. The next and the last one, I would like to ask John to answer. What role do seasons play in your life and planning?
Thank you. Could you please repeat the question? I'm not sure I heard it correctly.
Sure. What role do seasons play in your life and planning?
In planning.
Yeah, season play in your life and planning.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I don't recall any sort of planning that went around that. For me, spring is a nice time because we're coming out of winter and I'm looking forward to the summer. So it's a time of optimism, a time of rejuvenation, a time where I'm looking very much forward to what anticipation, very positive anticipation for the future. I find that in living in this part of the world that November, December, January, and February are sort of a slump in the whole year, and it's nice to leave that behind and get into the better weather. As the better weather comes, of course, there's lots more activities to do. I like to go walking, and usually we don't get as much precipitation in the spring, though it has been known to happen when you get a very wet spring here, because we're right on the storm track in our latitude on the Pacific. But usually we get a fairly good spring, and it is nice to do the activities in that. So in retrospect, I would say that this is a wonderful time of year, and I'm very pleased to be living in this part of the world, given the turmoil in other parts of the world. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thanks, John. Can I ask the chairs if we still have time for more questions, or that's the end of the table topic?
Probably best if we bring table topics to an end now. I'm a bit concerned that our table topic evaluator will have a lot to talk about.
Sure. Okay, thanks. I would like to welcome Catherine to evaluate all those wonderful speech.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest.
Oh no, she cut out.
I think she's frozen.
Wait, Catherine.
I believe Catherine might be frozen.
Perfect timing.
Oh.
Okay, let's see who's been paying the most attention. Who wants to hop in there as an evaluator?
Johan.
Oh,
Catherine's back.
She's back now. Is she back? Catherine, are you with us? Oh.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm wondering how many minutes do I have for 9 participants? Usually I just got 2 to 3 minutes for 6 people.
Let's say a minute a participant if you need it.
A minute.
Okay, that would be great. I don't want to be rushed. The first one is Marcus, one of our newest member of Global Speakers. The question for him is, what are the 3 things you love about spring? I like Marcus start with almost right away that he told us he would put away all the winter coat. And then the second one is to get out into the water. The third one, to be taking photos around the city. He has a lot of confidence about his speech. So obviously it's a very good impromptu topic for him. It's very easy to catch, and I found his pace is good as well. The only thing that I would like him to improve, maybe you could get more elements. For example, get us more imagination of what you are talking about. That would help you for the next speech. The second one, we have Tina. Tina, nice to meet you tonight. What are the activities that you do at the spring? Of course, go out to the door. That is the immediate action that you would like to do in the spring. You told us about the gathering with the family, that we all felt we should have that after the pandemic, which is about a year, and then you bring that up to us, and I appreciate for the suggestion. The third one is Lenny. Lenny is the only one that reached almost like to the maximum time of the speech, which is very great. She has a really, really great time management. And on her speech, we can see all the elements. She pointed out 3 points for us, and I can feel also the power of the spring that she told us at her conclusion as well. What I like her, she used 3 of the word of the day tonight, which we would encourage all of you try to use word of the day on any of the occasion, no matter on your speech or your evaluation. So I'll try to think about when I should use it. The fourth speaker is Frank. Frank, he has 1 time of the word of the day, and he told us about spring is his favorite season. And he also liked hiking as a few of other members, that he told me that we have lots of flowers at Vancouver, but maybe what I would suggest, other than just let us know what are the flowers, you may more specify of what kind of flowers that we are going to have in the spring in Vancouver, because we do have some unique flowers that anywhere else might not have. The fifth speaker is Aliza. What makes spring activities? That her smile is very good, and I found her pace is more like appropriate for most of the speech, since we can hear more clearly about what she'd like to let us know. But what I would suggest, since I only saw below your forehead, maybe you can adjust your position with the distance of your camera. The sixth contestant is Karen. Karen, I like your hand gesture. I like your distance to your camera. And then what you told us is kind of unique from others. You have the spring cleaning. I do have challenging myself for the spring cleaning to what purchase too much. However, the last year, I almost didn't purchase anything. I only got 1 new dress. Kudos to the pandemic. I like all the smile on your speeches. You brought us more relaxed. Thank you about that. Jazz is the 7th speaker. Share your favorite spring memory. Wow, the family tradition was brought up from your aunt to you and probably to your nephew in the new next few generations, which I like chocolate as well. In the past, I was hoping I got so many candies as what you did. The 8th one is Annie. She brought up a new word that I like, anticipation, that starts right about now. So now is important. It's the first. Yesterday was the first day of the spring, and we got the energy from you. I like. She told us that kayaking is not very like time consuming. Only maybe a couple of hours, then we can get the mini vacation. It's kind of rejuvenating my thought already. The last one is John. John is my favorite speaker all the time. I like him to have the confidence about what he's trying to tell us. Yes, we live in the very wonderful part of the world. I heard that message, and I like John about pacing himself for the posing, and I saw lots of his hand gesture and all the facial expression. It's clear and loud. That's conclude my evaluation of all the table topic contestants, and congratulations for all the great speeches.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Thank you very much, Sharon. I'm feeling very rejuvenated from this whole experience of table topics, although I don't think this was a contest necessarily, but well done, everybody who participated in table topics. This hand is for you. Please give yourself a hand, especially our newcomers to Toastmasters. At this point of the report of the meeting, we move into our report section. And the first person that I would like to call on is our grammarian, Maureen, to let us know how did we do with the word of the day and the use of the English language. Maureen. You're on mute.
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. I heard the word of the day 3 times by John, Lanny, and Frank. I heard a lot of good words and phrases that I thought were interesting. And a few of them are strategically, surefire, and passion, accumulate, and transfixed, pain to pathway. Awesome use of your language, Job. And you had several in your speech that were just well put and perfectly placed. Abundance, delighted to defeated, perfect and divine, focus. And I also heard a little bit of slang from TJ. Yeah, I heard you say gonna. So you may want to change that if you're doing a speech to going to. Okay, gonna is really slang. And I heard Anne say stats. So stat, in this case, she meant statistics, but it also could mean statutory. So perhaps for people who are using English as a second language, it might be good to clarify that word or any of our short expressions that we use, just for clarification. And one thing, Catherine, I heard you say to Karen, thank you about that. So you would want to change the word about to for. Thank you for that. Okay, and I don't have anything. I have a lot of ums from Catherine as well. You tend to use that as your thinking tool. So you may want to switch that to a silent. You can take a moment of silence and we can wait while you think, and because that is your crutch. So I stopped counting at 10 because it was over the top, but I think it's just because it's a hanger for you, right? So maybe just be aware that you can actually take a moment of silence while you read and think what you want to say next. There was a couple of more from Alyssa, John, and there was one from Karen and one from Tina that I heard. I may have missed some. I was really engrossed in what everybody was saying. But all in all, very well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that very thorough report, Maureen. Very, very much appreciated. Not all clubs do what we are going to do next. We are now going to move into what's known as the quizzer role. And if your club doesn't necessarily do this, it's a lot of fun. I encourage everybody to take their mute off. Make sure we can hear you all. Now, our quizzer is going to test our listening skills and to see how much attention we've been paying over the course of tonight's meeting. Please help me welcome Jazz to ask us a series of questions. And if you know the answer, just shout it out at her. Jazz.
Yay. I hope everybody was listening. I sure was. I have a lot of questions, but I'll just ask a few of them. Somebody had mentioned that rejuvenating and makes them feel and look younger. Could somebody tell me who that was?
Maureen.
Maureen. Oh, good job. Good job, guys. There is another question here. I'm not going to go in order because you know what? You guys are all just going to figure it out. So there was a mention of, actually, I really liked what this person had said, and it stuck with me, and it's going to stick with me. And that is that pain can destruct or instruct. Let it instruct you.
Job.
Good job. Yeah, good job, guys. Another question here is, somebody said that nature really purifies her soul. She feels lighter and better when she's out in nature.
Alyssa?
Tina?
Tina, good job. Should I keep going? Oh, I can keep going, right? Until it's yellow. It's my first time being the quiz person. I'm not sure. And then there was, okay, I'll ask one more. Someone was looking forward to watching all the tiny animals come out and seeing them play in
Alyssa.
springtime. There we go. That's it. Good job, guys. You got it all.
Well done for your first time in the quizzer role. Jazz, thanks for taking it on tonight. At this point, you should be receiving, it's in the chat, right? Is that correct?
In the poll.
And there's going to be a poll coming out. Please take a moment to fill out the poll. We're looking for who you thought the best speaker was, who you thought the best evaluator was, and who you thought the best table topics speaker was. At the end, we're going to release the results of the poll, but please take the moment to fill it out. Oh, and if you haven't yet remuted yourself, please remute yourself. I know that was a lot of fun, but we do ask to go back to mute. Next, I would like to call on our timer to let us know how did we do with our times this evening. Melissa, please tell us, how did we do? Were we on time?
Yes, so the timing has been very on point this evening. I am just going to go through how long everybody spoke for their prepared speeches and their table topics. TJ, your speech was 7 minutes 49 seconds, and your evaluation for TJ was 2 minutes 38 seconds. Job's speech was 7 minutes and 32 seconds, and Lenny's evaluation for that was 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Table topics: Marcus, 1 minute 2 seconds. Tina, 1 minute 3 seconds. Lanny, 2 minutes and 1 second. Frank, 1 minute and 23 seconds. Alyssa, 58 seconds. Karen, 1 minute and 3 seconds. Jazz, 1 minute and 43 seconds. Anne, 1 minute and 40 seconds. And John, 1 minute and 29 seconds. And Catherine's evaluation of all of those people was 6 minutes and 41 seconds.
Thank you for that very thorough timing report. That was great. You kept great track of everybody's record, and I really appreciate that. Now I'd like to find out how the overall meeting did. So I'd like to now ask our general evaluator for this evening's meeting, John Morris, please let us know, how did we do in the roles that aren't getting evaluation? John.
Thank you very much, Leah. I felt that the objective of this meeting was very well met. We had a successful meeting, good turnout, and very good participation. The meeting preparation was there, the agenda was available, changes were made, and members appeared ready to go as required. We started about 2 minutes late, but that didn't seem to matter because our timer kept things on track. Our Sergeant at Arms introduction to the chair by Yuhan. I felt he introduced the chairman well and made announcements about a poll for the table topic speeches to be evaluated in the second half. However, that didn't happen as Catherine appeared on the scene and did the table topics evaluation. Our chair, Leah, I felt she did a very successful job as the chair, welcomed guests, reviewed, changed the agenda, short introduction on the theme, spring is coming, asked an icebreaker question and with a simple short answer for all the members, and smooth transition between the speeches. Very good bridging between the speakers to maintain the continuity of the meeting. So well done, Leah. Our inspirator, Marcus, inspiration associated with Joy of Spring theme was given, and I felt it was very successful. Our joke master, I can't pronounce your name. I can't read my writing. Anyway, our joke master, very effective and original joke. So well done. I believe that was Melissa that did the joke. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and our timer, Melissa, again. I felt she did a successful job of keeping the meeting running on track. And that's one of the most difficult things to do because the timer and the chair have to work in tandem with each other to make sure things are on time. And she did a successful job with that. Times were displayed with the background lights to exemplify the times for the various speakers in the first half. In the second half, detailed times were reported accurately. So the position was very well run there by Melissa. Our grammarian, Maureen, word of the day, rejuvenation was given, and very crisp, clear, concise role explanation of duties was given. In the second half, word of the day, phrases, and ahs were reported. And because she did all three of those, not all grammarians do all three, by the way, it was a complete approach to the grammarian role, and she definitely made a point of notifying us of colorful uses of the English language. So well done, Maureen. Our table topics master, Sharon. Topics were appropriate to the theme, spring is coming. Topics were introduced concisely in 1 minute or less, and guests were invited to participate. So it was very well done. Sharon prepared some nice topics around the theme, and it worked out very well, and original topics too. Our table topics evaluator, Catherine. I liked how she improvised to request extra time to evaluate, which is a good thing so that she didn't get clapped down after evaluating 2 or 3 speakers. And that was well done by Catherine. She provided encouraging feedback, shared a few opportunities for growth for each of the speakers, used a sandwich technique, and ended with a positive note. It was very well done there by Catherine too. Our Toastmaster, Karen, made a toast after a preamble to the coming of spring. So she had good preamble, good introductory remarks before she made the toast. So it really came off very successful. Our speech evaluators for TJ, Anne. I felt she had a good introduction of TJ's speech, which set the mood for the speech, and then that uses presentation software. For the speech itself, areas done well were cited and areas of improvement were given. She didn't give a summation at the end, and it's important to get in the habit of giving summations where you just summarize what you've evaluated, because in speech contests, evaluation contests, that's very important. It's worth 15 points on your score and can make or break the meaning difference between winning or losing. But anyway, it's a good habit to be in, but the speaker was very well praised, so well done, Anne. Our second speaker, Lanny, good improvisation to introduce job. Lanny evaluated what she saw, what she heard, and what she felt, which was a good evaluation technique. Areas done well were reviewed, times, things to improve, and how to improve them were given, which is good. So it wasn't just you need more vocal variety, but how to improve the vocal variety, for example. And content was reviewed, and also the emotional impact of the speech was given too. So we had some idea of just how well it was done. I'm just about running out of time. How to make the speech better was suggested. No summation was given, but the speaker was praised. Our final person, the quizzer, Jazz. Very pertinent questions were asked to test our perception alertness of the meeting. That concludes my general evaluation. I'm running out of time. Back to Leah.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, for this evening's evaluation. You went through all the roles extremely well and very fast. Quite like that. At this point, we have come to the moment of the meeting that we're all waiting for. Who won first place in the different speaking sections. Are you ready? Yep. All right, so our for best speaker award goes to Job McGuire. Good luck on the the division stage and the district stage. Best of luck. Next up, our best, is it evaluator? Our best evaluator for tonight was dun, 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 Lanny Donald. Thank you so much, our guest evaluator. You have taken first place. We'll be sending these to you via email shortly. And last but not least, our best table topic speaker was Lanny Donald again. Yay! Well done, Lanny. I love the look on your face, Lanny. That's awesome. All right. That was it. Everybody, thank you so much for participating. At this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to guest comments. That is correct. Yes, I need to go to that gallery view. Gallery view, please. All right, so now it's time for our guest comments. I'd like to start with Jazz. Jazz, what comments do you have about your experience with tonight's meeting?
I always have positive things to say about coming and joining Toastmasters, and I don't know why I'm not a part of it. But in the recent months, I've learned that I use certain words as the fillers, or when I can't think, I tend to use them as a crutch. And I was talking to TJ, and I had told him that I really need to join Toastmasters to have some accountability and to work on those words and letting go of them. And today I tried my best to practice and not use those words. I'm struggling a little bit now, but overall, I think this is always a great learning experience. So I'm always happy to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, Jess. I appreciate that. Next, I'd like to call on Frank. Frank, you have not been with us for quite a while. What was your impression of tonight's meeting?
Thank you. How a wonderful meeting it is. I haven't been here a long time. I miss you. Today, so lots of people enjoy attending this meeting, and everyone doing a very good job. I can't believe now our club is very, very, how to say, a strong, effective. Thank you. I hope I can come back again. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call on our guest from District 96. Tina, as our guest, what were your impressions of tonight's meeting?
Thank you, everyone. I really have to say I enjoyed it tonight. I really marveled at how differently each club is running now virtually. I especially like the poll section and the quiz master section. I really think that's very creative. And also, I am really amazed at how efficient you are in creating those certificates. You're really awesome. And also, I want to say, I enjoyed tonight's two speakers. You are wonderful. I really think you are great speakers. One is so persuasive, the other is so inspiring. And also, I want to thank the table topic master. You gave good questions. And only one thing I want to comment, because as I said, each club is running differently right now. From a guest perspective, personally, I think it will be help the guest, because if you could rename yourself, like put a guest or timer or counter or evaluator or speaker after your name, I think that will be helpful for the guest. This is from my guest perspective. But overall, I think this is an excellent meeting. I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate your invitation for me. Thank you, Chair, for sending me the link. I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you all.
I'm so happy that you could be here tonight, Tina. Thank you for being here. Next, I'd like to ask our guest, Lanny Donald, what were your impressions of tonight's meeting?
I am so happy that I visited the club today. It was lit. I felt rejuvenated by all of you.
Thank you so much.
You know, maybe as a guest, you should tell the guest who they should contact if they want to join the club. That would be helpful. Like if you introduce the VP of member, because then they could be on chat, you know, contact me. I'm the VP of member for the guests. If you put that on chat, that would be helpful. But I like the friendliness and just you guys are lifting up the spirit of guests and me. Thank you for having me.
You can come back anytime you like, anytime. We will happily have you back anytime, Lanny. And for those who don't know, she's a long-term Toastmaster who's mentored a lot of people. She's a good egg. And last but definitely not least, he who is moving on to the division stage, Job. Job, what were your impressions of tonight's meeting, sir, as our guest from out of town?
First of all, to you, thank you for inviting me. Your communication skills are top-notch. You kept me informed. You added my email to the email list. I had no trouble finding my way to the meeting. Also, kudos to the club. Your presence online is really a global level. It's very easy to find you on Eventbrite and find your links to your page on the Toastmasters homepage. I enjoyed the meeting, vibrant with the innovations that have already been mentioned. I don't want to repeat. I have had so much fun, and thank you for the feedback you've shared with me. If any of you feels like you could want to share something else, perhaps you could get my email and just drop me a line or two. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Lani. We met here as guests, and you've given me amazing tips. I look forward to joining you again, and who knows, I might be your next member from down in Kansas. It's 15 minutes to 11, but I am not asleep. That means the club has been exciting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Job. It is a pleasure to have all of you here tonight. At this point, I would like to turn the meeting over to Global Speakers President, Johan. Any last words, sir?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And first, I would like to invite our sister club, Pacific Green. I believe Marine is the VP Education for Pacific Green. And thank you for coming. Marine, would you like to say a few words before we adjourn the meeting?
Thank you, Johan. Lovely. I really enjoyed the meeting. I thought it was invigorating and rejuvenating. And it was a pleasure to join you all tonight and to meet everybody. And I so enjoyed the speeches, and everything was so well put together. So I really appreciate that. And also Tina's feedback was very good. If we could just rename ourselves, I think it would be helpful because we're not used to meeting with so many different people, but it's really a great plan. So thank you for having us. It has been an honor to join you tonight.
Thank you, Marine. And I just have two quick announcements. Our global speakers meeting, next meeting is on April 5th. Well, back to our regular hour, 7:15. We may or may not have another joint meeting. So we will see if Pacific Ring will do a joint meeting again. And also second, the District 21 conference is organizing right now. I would like to post a link. If you are interested, go to a link. You can see the detail of the conference, including the keynote speaker education session and the speech contest.
And they're doing an early bird draw. So if you register early, you could win a prize.
And because it's online, so it's free. I think it's first time it's free to attend the conference. Because it's on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, April 17 and 18. And I believe Catherine has something want to announce. Catherine?
Let me see. Okay, I have unmute myself. And again, I'm on behalf of the Air Cadet League of Canada. I'm still recruiting one judge for my upcoming wing competition, which is on March 27th 2:30 to 5:30. If you are willing to help about some youth for the age between 12 to 18, we are going to have 5 to 6 cadets competing with the wing competition, which is equivalent to the division. After the wing competition, one of the winner will approach to the provincial. And then the provincial competition will be 8 cadet for BC. So if you have time, and I just post my email address on the chat, and there should be some, if you want to know more, let me know. We always want to get Toastmasters on board and help us out. Thank you.
So thank you, Catherine. I know Catherine is been with Air Cadet for many years. So if you're interested to be part of the Air Cadet event, please contact Catherine. And does anyone else has any other announcement?
Yeah, Johan, so I'd like to get a screenshot of everyone. I shared some images in the chat that have to do with our spring theme. So if you want to download one of those quickly, make it your Zoom background if you know how. That would be awesome. We can liven it up here, add some more color. It's one of my favorite things about spring. And if Lanny and Job are still there, as well as John, please do turn on your cameras as well so we can get as many faces in our meeting screenshot as possible. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Okay. I'll give another 10 seconds for anyone to add their background. And our theme is spring, so rejuvenation. So how does that make you feel? What do you guys want to do? I'm gonna go like this, like I'm rejuvenated.
You tag it,
Ooh. Okay, awesome. I see those backgrounds popping up. So we'll take it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Back
Awesome
over to
meeting you guys.
So thank you, TJ. So right now I announced a global speaker Pacific Rim joint meeting adjourned. So thank you.
Thank you.